One of the biggest concerns that kids have about going away to camp is who's going to do my dressing changes. And I can assure everyone that at every camp that we're going to talk about, and there are many, there are 6 that John will talk about, and I'm going to talk about 3 others. They all have very, very competent medical staff. They have dermatologists, other physicians, EB nurses, and they're all very, very good at dealing with dressing changes. But it is still scary, and there are some options in some camps where parents can come and participate. The cost, all of the camps are free. Everyone is free to the campers. With some of the camps, airfare is available with a scholarship, but not, if you don't need it, it's really helpful if the families can pay for the airfare. And you don't have to worry about flying alone. Families can take you right to your gate, and people from camp will pick you up right at the gate. You don't have to wander around the airport with all your luggage by yourself. They also worry about eating the food, and we all are very good at adapting the food. We know what your needs are, and so we ask you what you like to eat, and we try to provide that, and so that's not really a problem either. As far as the activity goes, most of the camps have adaptive equipment, so that if you want to do the zip line, we can get you up there to do the zip line. If you want to do archery, we have adaptive bows. So and for skiing, we obviously use adaptive equipment that's very safe. Am I going to be homesick? Well, you might be, but we have found that you're so busy and having so much fun that usually you aren't, and if you are, there are always cell phones. Wait, which one do I do? Oh, okay. So you do have some options as far as what type of camp you want to go to. Last year we started the Roundup River Ranch in Colorado. It's in Gypsum, Colorado. It's a family weekend camp, and it was really successful, and we hope to expand it. Eventually we'd love to have a summer camp there, but at this point it's still just a weekend family camp, which makes it hard for people who aren't nearby Colorado. It's in October, and it's for children with severe dermatological diseases. It's funded by Roundup River Ranch and partially by the Hole in the Wall camps, which are from the Paul Newman Fund. And it gives lots of time for parent interaction, which is nice. The staff will watch the kids and play games with the kids so parents can get away and have time just among themselves. There's tons of activities. As you saw, there was boating. There's the climbing wall and the zip line. There are lots of lawn games, horseback riding, crafts, fishing, archery, all kinds of things. And it's just a lot of fun for the whole family. And the siblings, it's the one camp the siblings get to go to. They have lots of group activities. You have to dance for your dinner. They have a casino night. And it's just a really nice introduction to camp life. Camp Wonder is in Livermore, California, and it's in June. It's a camp for chronic life-threatening skin diseases. It's sponsored by the Children's Skin Disease Foundation, and they have wonderful medical staff available, but they also do allow parents to come and do the dressing changes. So that's the one difference with that camp. The families stay in a motel nearby, but the parents can come in only for the dressing changes. They can't participate in camp. It's free to campers 7 to 16, and they have swimming, rock wall arts and crafts. They do a prom dance, which the kids love, and they have the opportunity to play sports. It's just a wonderful camp, and it's kind of the next step if either the parents are afraid to let the kids go, or the kids are a little nervous about going by themselves. And then Camp Spirit is the last one I'm going to talk about. It's totally different. It's a winter adventure camp. It's only for children with recessive dystrophic EB. It's a small camp. We can only handle about 9 campers because we only have so many of the adaptive skis. It's in March, and it's for ages 9 to 18. It's funded by the Children's Hospital Colorado EB Family Assistance Fund, and it is also free to campers, except we do appreciate if families can pay the airfare, but there are scholarships available. And we have dermatologists, EB nurses, PTs, there's a geneticist. The staff is well trained in dressing changes, and one of the things that we try to do is help the campers to do their own dressing changes as much as they can. We had one camper who had never tried to do any of it herself, and she said, I didn't think I could do this, and she was so excited that she was able to do her entire dressing change. It's very empowering for kids, and she felt like, I could go stay overnight at someone's house, and if I have to fix something, I can do it. And so we do encourage independence, and the activities include skiing, snowmobiling, we teach you how to drive a dog sled, that we do sleigh rides and marshmallow roasts, and then at night there are a lot of games. The students from Rice University in Texas come every year, and they work with the NSCD, which is the National Sports Center for the Disabled, and they come over one night and play games with the kids, which the kids love. You know, they think it's so cool to play games with college students. So the families are not present, and as I said, they're encouraged to do as much of the dressing changes as they can. So why go to camp? Well, probably the primary thing is friendships. They have lots of time like they do here, and this is often the only time that they have to get together with other kids like them. They can experience all sorts of activities. It's very empowering. You have a chance to feel more normal. People aren't going to ask you, why do you wear those bandages? The thing I love most about camp is that it focuses on abilities, not disabilities. And it's what you can do and how you can have fun and what you can experience. And you have a chance to just be a kid. One of the campers, when I was driving him down to the airport the first year he came, he said, this was life-changing for me. And I started crying in the car as I'm driving. I thought, well, that's why we do it. So I'm going to turn this over to John. And I just want to say also, I made up handouts of all the camps and the contacts. And so we will put them somewhere in the back for people to take. Thank you.
And we'll try to have opportunity for questions at the end in case they arise. But as Kay mentioned, my name is John Browning. I'm in San Antonio, pediatric dermatology. And I'm also chair of the American Academy of Dermatology's Camp Discovery Committee. So this is the committee that oversees all of the camps that are sponsored by the AAD. And it's a privilege to chair that committee. And I'm very proud of what we're able to offer in terms of camps for those who need to go to camp. We have 6 different camps, which I'll talk about in a minute. It's completely funded by the American Academy of Dermatology, largely through donations by the members. And it's free for all campers, including not only your time at camp, but your travel to get there. We've been celebrating 20 years of carefree summers, so very exciting. And these are the different camps. So we've got Little Pine and Big Trout, which I think a lot of you might be familiar with. These are at a facility in Minnesota called Camp Knutson. Camp Knutson was the original site for Camp Discovery. So for years and years, it was just only referred to as Camp Discovery. But now that there's the younger age camp and the older teen camp and plus all these other camps, I think 2 or 3 years ago, the name Little Pine was given for the younger camp, and then Big Trout for the teen camp. But they're both in Cross Lake, Minnesota. And this is where largely kids with EB have been going to camp. Now, some of them go to the other camps as well, and of course they're welcome at any camp, but there's just a kind of a active group of EB kids that go to Little Pine and Big Trout. And I think, being in Minnesota, it's such a beautiful place, and it's not quite as hot as some of these other places are, particularly Camp Dermadillo in Texas, which is the one that I'm largely at. But besides those ones in Minnesota, we have Camp Horizon in Millville, Pennsylvania. And this is a very large camp. I think there's usually 100 campers every year. It was started by Howard Pride, who's just an excellent pediatric dermatologist in Danville, Pennsylvania at Geisinger, very dedicated staff. Camp Reflection, which is relatively new in Washington State for ages 7 to 16. Camp Dermadillo, which is the one that I've been participating in since it started almost 10 years ago, and that's for ages 9 to 15 in Burton, Texas. And then Camp Liberty in Connecticut, which was started a few years ago, ages 8 to 16. So any camper can go to any one of these camps. Any child with EB certainly would be eligible to go. But as I mentioned, the Minnesota camp has kind of been the most popular one, and they've just had a great infrastructure for being able to provide a rich camp environment for our EB kids. These camps are staffed by volunteer dermatologists, also volunteer pediatricians. We have nurses, physical therapists, nurse practitioners, medical students, residents, and even adults that have chronic skin conditions that just want to give back. Some of them went through the camp program, and some of them just want to be able to give back. As I mentioned, free for children with chronic skin conditions. We do not take siblings. Unfortunately, we're not able to accommodate them at these camps, but I love the idea of family camp. I think that that's really fantastic. And this is just a traditional camp experience. So you get to swim, and we have zip lines that we do. We do horseback riding, archery, canoeing, pretty much all the normal camp activities, roasting marshmallows. We do not have skin sessions. Nobody sits in a circle and talks about life with their skin issue, and that's just how we've felt that provides a richer environment. Of course, there's a lot of side conversations that are happening kind of more organically, where kids are naturally sharing about what life may be like with EB or what it may be like with something else. This is pool time. One of our kids at Dermadillo with EB simplex, and I think I have a bunch of pictures of him because it was his birthday too. And so we like to celebrate birthdays at camp. We make a really big deal out of it. But he was pretty excited. A lot of the kids love riding on the golf carts. Putting sunscreen on, of course, is it's really important in Texas. That was just showing his blisters that he gets on his face. And, he was pretty undeterred being at camp in the heat and in the summer. Now, these are some of our campers with xeroderma pigmentosa. So this is a whole other skin condition. This is inability to repair your DNA with brief exposure to sunlight. You form skin cancer really quickly. We have a group of these campers that come to Camp Dermadillo. There's probably about 10 of them. We actually have an indoor track for them. There's an indoor zip line. Of course, that's also great for people that are heat intolerant, that they can do the indoor climbing wall, the indoor zip line, the indoor little theater that they do, the dress up, all of that. But at nighttime, these kids get to come out and swim at night and ride the zip line and do horses at night. So it's kind of cool. And one of the things that's so rich about camp is that we don't focus on kind of one skin condition. There's kids that have a whole variety of different things going on, and it's sometimes helpful if you're so focused on what you have or what your child has that you don't realize, hey, there's other kids out there that have other issues going on, and you just can really gain from that, because you realize, okay, maybe what I have isn't that bad, or or what I have, it's hard and I struggle, but I don't have to worry about not going out in the sun during the day, stuff like that. This was one of our patients with epidermolytic hyperkeratosis, which is kind of related to EB. She gets blisters really easily with heat and walking around, so she's getting one of her blisters popped, and she did not want to have her picture taken, so she's hiding from the camera. One of our recessive dystrophic patients at Camp Dermadillo, another EB kid at Dermadillo. Yeah, that's Chris. When he was much younger. That's by the campfire there. And there's Chris again. As some of you may know Dr. Bree. She is not here at this meeting, but she's a pediatric dermatologist in Houston. Has been very involved at Camp Dermadillo. This is at Cross Lake, Minnesota, probably big trout or little pine. I'm not sure which one, but this is a kid with EB on the tube there, just having a good time, and the counselor there is helping him. And nobody ever gets forced to do an activity if you don't want to do it, but you certainly are encouraged, and we love to help them if they want to do it. We don't want anybody to feel limited like they can't participate. Basketball, of course, is always popular. Riding on the boat. Talent shows are always really fun at camp. Shaving cream fights. I think this might have been another type of performance or talent show. These are from Minnesota, I believe. I wasn't there, but they're just kind of fun pictures just to see. You can see the kids having a great time, playing Frisbee. So, lots of smiles. Here's some more pictures from Dermadillo. We have it at a place called Camp for All, which is close to Brenham, which is where they make Bluebell ice cream. That's kind of our claim to fame. We did do a tour of the Bluebell factory a couple years ago. That was quite popular. And it's just a great facility. There's a little lake, nice air-conditioned cabins. Pool time's really fun. You can see, as I mentioned, we have kids with other conditions. This is a camper with a giant congenital melanocytic nevus, so covered in a big birthmark, and then a child with vitiligo. Roasting marshmallows, very fun. Some of the XP kids with their UV coverings on. Of course, it's so hot in Texas. We did this in August. I mean, camp is going to start a week from tomorrow, actually. The kids will arrive, and so we do water day on the first day to try to acclimate them. Of course, a lot of them are from Texas or from the Southwest, so they're not shocked when they come to camp. The AED does try to kind of regionally match campers up so that they're not, flying all the way across the country to get to camp. I think this was his birthday. Like I mentioned, we make a big deal out of birthdays. We had some Child Life volunteers. A lot of you are familiar with Child Life, and they're great. I mean, they really kind of having a daily pep rally when they're around. We don't tan at camp, but we shade, so they're in the shade there. And we did rodeo day. That was really fun a couple years ago, riding the Bronco. This is paintball. Some of you may know Dr. Levy there on the left. He's a pediatric dermatologist, originally in Houston, now in Austin. And fishing's fun, just throwing a little corn kernel out to catch the fish. We do a lake day in Texas one day. We're not right on the lake. We have a pond on site, but we take the older kids to the lake, and they can tube and swim. And then, of course, in Texas, we just if you don't have snow, you buy it, I guess. So that's what we did. We bought the snow. We brought it in August to cool things off, and the kids got to sled down the hill. So that was pretty fun in August to do that. And we do things different every year. We never kind of do the same things, so there's always a surprise element, which is really fun. This is Dr. Emily Becker in the back. She's another pediatric dermatologist in San Antonio. But yeah, lots of fun. Canoeing. This was, a ferret maybe. Here is, of course, Dr. Levy again, and then some of you may know Dr. Ron T., who is a volunteer every year, pediatric dermatologist in the Austin area, and then Margaret Hirsch, who's one of our medical directors. She's our nursing director. She's an RN at Texas Children's. We did a NPR interview one day, and that was just a great interview. I thought about playing it, but I thought that might be kind of boring for you to listen to a 2-minute interview, but really, really did a great job of just raising awareness about camp and the kids that were able to see and participate there. Dress up's really fun. This young lady has ichthyosis, but she has just a great time at camp. Riding on the golf cart, of course, that's fun. Talent show, I got tapped for that. And then we do superlatives every day too, just to recognize kids that are doing really well. And I think they do such a great job at this camp of just really building the kids up and supporting them and making them feel like they're, just a really special person. And the relationships that get formed between the kids are really powerful. I mean, it's amazing to watch that happen. Deep bonds that get formed, lasting bonds of keeping up over the years with one another. I think we always do a party on the last night, and this was a Mardi Gras theme. So this was a little note from Cabin 13. They said, "Thanks for all you've done for camp this year. We appreciate it, and we can't wait until next year." So in conclusion, camp changes lives. I mean, I think it's the best thing that I can offer a lot of my patients. They get way more out of camp than they get from seeing me over the year. Studies have shown over and over again that children with chronic conditions do well at camp. And I have a quote from an article. This was actually in a GI journal, and it really had to do with kids that had Crohn's or colitis, but I think the same applies to a dermatology camp, and there's hundreds and hundreds of quotes that I could have shared, but this says, exposure to peers with similar therapeutic routines helped campers build an empathetic social network and introduced a new perspective on their disease. Attending a disease-specific camp helps patients psychosocial adjustment and acquisition of knowledge about their disease. Ultimately, it helps them learn to live with their chronic condition. So with that, we're going to end, but we'd love to take questions. If there are any, we might have 2 minutes for that. Yes?
The weekend camp for families, I missed the beginning, but is that for all ages or what age is that?
Oh, it's for the whole family, so it's, any age, and it's in October. It's, yeah. I think it's the first week. I'm not sure.
Anybody else?
Oh, if you are interested in that, we need to get you registered quickly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you are interested, at least in the American Academy of Dermatology's Camp Discovery Camps, you can go to the AAD website, and if you just type in camp, or honestly, if you just type in dermatology camp AAD on Google, it'll take you straight to that site. So applications usually need to be in before mid-April, so you have to really kind of plan. You don't want to be trying to go to camp in June when it starts, 2 weeks later, or even in August. You just have to plan accordingly.
And for those of you who weren't here in the beginning, there's a handout in the back of all the camps and how to contact them.
All right, thank you very much. Oh, sorry, there's a question in the back.
I just wanted to say I got to visit Camp Discovery, and I was pretty nervous because it was the first time I'd been away from my family by myself, and it was so accommodating that it was more like a celebrity luxury spa. They prepared me so well that it was just astounding, and it was fun, it was relaxing. I made a ton of friends, and just had a bunch of experiences that I've never had before, and I was able to, blossom out, be away from my mom and dad for about a week, from Minnesota to Oregon, and it was great. So I highly, highly recommend it.
That makes sense.
Thank you for sharing.